run into somebody and they tell you, you can use me for what you need me for? No, they don't do it. They use you for what they need you for. You understand? And the precinct people have been used what they need them for. You think if that wasn't the case, somebody would have took the time and explained and educated the precinct people on what their rights was. Do you know that a precinct person can raise as much money in their precinct and use it for the people without being questioned about any other form of government? Do you know that? They ain't teach you that.
So I think you've hit on something very important. And as we have been going through this, and I've been filming you on this, ideas are starting to come into my spirit. And because I don't necessarily understand precinct government in a way where I can just verbalize it like I can many other things, I think it's very important that we help define precinct government, specifically what it is and how it looks, both in our communities and how it's supposed to look.
That's according to the chart.
Right.
Well, let me tell you. You know why you can't get a picture of it? Because you ain't never did it.
Right. You're right. You're right. I haven't.
If you've done it, then it's just as easy as you learning to ride a bicycle.
Okay.
All you got to do, I tell you what you do. Go home today and walk through your precinct and call a meeting for these 6 things. Call your people to come to your house and meet with your house on one of these, committees. And you know what? Before a month is over, you will get to understand what precinct government is. It's nothing but looking out after the health interest, rights, and needs of the people in your precinct. That's all it is.
Well, I would really like to, as these ideas come, I would really like to try and find a precinct person who's actually in that official capacity here in Cleveland, who may be listening, watching, or one of you who is on here now who is in Cleveland will share this to someone who is in a official capacity in that way, and let's invite them in for a segment so that they can give their perspective
and ask questions
on how they fulfill their role as a precinct person, and how we can become more effective, because these are the conversations that we must have. Now, I know that our audience, unfortunately, is not used to this because, to tell you the truth, I struggle with trying to find these things that I can really discuss and do like I'm doing now, because like I said, before, our people are so disconnected from the process that this is really like novel. This is like...
Well, it really ain't. Really, I said it to say this. Once this has been introduced to anybody, their latent knowledge wakes up.
Okay.
It wakes up. They sleep. They just sleep. But once this has been introduced and the truth has been introduced to them, they agree.
Okay.
But they just sleep.
Okay.
And what we mean by waking up, when you wake somebody, you got to shake them.
Okay.
You got to hit them with a strong dose of knowledge.
Okay.
And then when they see how that knowledge fit in their life, they'll come along.
Right.
But they're not as asleep as you think that they are.
Okay.
They just dozing.
So I'm going to end with this, because Diana here is asking and putting out some great questions and comments. She says local government isn't taught in school. That's right. They've taken out civics. We don't have civics lessons anymore. She also asks, what is the common law of Cleveland? And she also asks, who are the precinct leaders in each ward, and how many precincts are in each ward? So this is like the nuts and bolts of really understanding what precinct government is from a administrative or a government perspective.
Well, let me answer by saying this. various wards have various precincts. Some wards have 20 precincts, some have 17.
Okay.
And some, like in East Cleveland, have 5 or 6.
Okay.
But those precincts are where the votes come from.
Right.
Yeah. So, and the other question you asked me was about the school. Right, the schools don't teach government.
Right.
They don't teach government. Why they don't teach government? Because look at Cleveland.
Right.
Cleveland schools, majority blacks.
Right.
You know, they don't teach, two things they don't teach in Cleveland schools. They don't teach government, real government. Three things. They don't teach real government, they don't teach real black history, and they don't teach financial literacy.
Right.
So our children, they leave out of high school proficient reefer smokers and basketball players.
Wow.
And hamburger
rap artists.
And rap artists. But they don't leave educated.
Right. They don't know how to operate their own business. They don't know how to be an entrepreneur. They don't have the vocational training where, like, a man can go out and fix a car or do maintenance on the home or do any of those things that men are capable of doing. But especially we as black men, we're not raised and trained and exposed, and that's not what the vast majority of our communities are about. And so it's way past time that because I really stress this, you know, there are no saviors coming.
Right.
So if we don't, as black people,
it ain't gonna happen.
Right, create these conversations, these discussions, and push this kind of knowledge and discussions amongst ourselves, then we just gonna be.
Let's say a couple of things before we end. Next week, I'm gonna take you through government and business.
Okay.
There's 7 levels of government and there's 7 levels of business.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take you through those and show how each one of them operate.
Okay.
And how it relates to. And then the week after, I guess I get into to clinic and home, and maybe the last week I do school. But next week you can look at. Let me say thank you to a couple of people. I'd like to say thank you to Marcia McCoy. She's a pusher. She's always pushing me to do these work. I'd like to say thank you to the women and men who went through my first precinct government workshop classes.
Okay.
A lot of them are on their way now. They're doing some things. And also, let me say thank you to Black on Black, because they're my base.
Okay. Okay.
And also to you, Fred. I appreciate you.
Okay. Now, I also want to add that you are on Voice It Radio too here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Every Saturday from 7 to 9.
Every Saturday from 7 to 9 with Precinct, East Cleveland Precinct person, Juanita Gowdy. So I think that would, for those of you who are watching, you know, now when you do that show every Saturday with her on Voice It Radio, is she allowing you to use her program to discuss this, or do the topics change from week to week?
Well, you know, the topics, they change, but I always run the information back to the base.
Okay.
There is no knowledge outside of these institutions. There is no, so if there's an issue, I run it back to the base, and then from the base I analyze and context it to show if this was done, that wouldn't have happened.
Okay. Okay.
So
very
yeah,
good.
so it doesn't matter what issue you bring up, it can be rooted back to the base.
Okay. So the reason why I wanted to say that is because as we seek to grow your engagement and your branding, your exposure, this very important topic and subject on precinct government, especially for our black people, especially for our black people right here in Cleveland, it's really important that we inform the audience how to not just engage with you here, but also where you are on Saturdays. And also, I would like for you to go into this live because you have many people who are commenting. Benjamin Simmons says, I believe Tunis G. Carnbell did something in South Carolina, Guernsey Island. So what many people are beginning to respond to is that, yes, we desperately need to have these conversations, and I see that they are wanting to connect with you, and I think it would be very important if you go into this live and the lives that we are going to be doing subsequently and begin to build your relationships with these people so that their input, their knowledge,
just... And they can always hit me up on Facebook.
Okay. And so I want to thank everybody who is tuned in, and thank you for helping to, you're just as much as part of this as we are, because if it wasn't for you, our audience out there, we would have no reason to do this, but we have every reason to do this because of the 911 crisis that we're in as Black people. And if we don't take charge, if we don't take leadership of our own destiny and have the discussions that we must have so that we can change our reality, then it will never be any different. So this is just two Black men who have decided to come together, and Ernie teaches Precinct Government and other principal ideas, and I'm the one that does the interviewing and the coverage and the videotaping. So everybody has to do their part, play their role in order for us to be elevated out of the current state of crisis that we're in.
And one last thing before we go, I'd like to say one last thing.
Okay.
If you hear this and you heard a truth that you believe, then it's imperative that you live by the truth that you heard, or get up and do something about the problem that you see.
Okay.
Because God only lets you see the problem because He wants you to do something about the problem.
Wow, that's a good point. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Do we have a specific day and time that we're going to be doing this? Because I know our schedules sometimes don't always agree with like the moment that we set, and we have to work on that too as Black people, to be more structured, to be more specific, and when we say we're going to do something, to follow through.
Next Friday.
Friday, around what time? Around the same time?
Around the same time.
Okay, so you have the date, next Friday. We will be back here, and during this week that passes, let's really come together more and put our ideas and our desires together in terms of what our reality should look like as Black people, especially in government. And let's have these discussions so we can push for the changes that must happen by us and for us. This is Ernie Harris, Precinct Government teacher, lecturer, and educator. I'm Fred Barkley. And did you want to say something parting before we go?
No, see you next Friday.
Okay. Bye, guys. See you later. We'll be talking to you.
Okay.
Bye.